Yesterday, I decided to add one more functionality to my project. The option number 4 became find movies by genre. So previous option 4 became 5 and 6, 7 respectively. This one gave me a little bit of thinking. So the way I did it is once the user is adding option number 4 in the menu, what should happen in the menu function, which I have here, I've added those lines 61 through 64. Now, so after the input is character number 4, I create a variable genre and I'll take user input genre. So comedy, sci-fi, or whatever. What happens next is I create a variable movie found, just like in previous menu, but this time around I created a new function, and the function is called movies by genre. What I provide or pass to the function as argument is the genre taken from the user. So that string is going to be passed to the function movies by genre as its argument. And once it's done its job, and the job is going to be to return the list of movies with a particular genre in this key as a value, it displays, like previously, all the information about the movie. So what should be returned is the list of movies, which is each movie is a dictionary. Now, so what happens then? So when I call this function movies by genre, here's my option in the code, and it should say something along these lines. Searching movies by given genre. I need to actually do a little bit cleanup here as well. So what this function is doing here is taking user input, user argument genre that is stored in this variable passed as argument. And the first line is also create a movie titles list. That list is going to contain the movie list or dictionaries that each one of them contains information about the particular movie. But this time around, I want to focus on genre. So if I have an empty list at this point, what I'm doing is I'm doing the loop for movie in movies. Now, movie here is the variable, and movies is the list of movies that is populated from JSON file the moment the program runs. We've talked about this in the previous videos. For each movie, for each element of the list in the movies list, and each element again is a dictionary containing information about a particular movie, for that movie, for each movie we will iterate through the dictionary. But this time around, I will only look into the key called genre, which is spelled with a capital G. So that's all the keys in my dictionary are starting with a capital letter. So I will only focus this time on genre key. And if the key, so this is a check, if the movie genre is the variable in movie, which is the element of the list, being dictionary, field key genre, if that key matches the user genre provided as an argument in the dictionary, if it's equal to the same genre, let's say comedy, I will append to my empty list here that movie element, which is the dictionary. Now, if there was nothing found, obviously we will return nothing, which is the none, and it should be uppercase none. That is the proper. So if the movie titles is not empty, which has at least, if it has at least one element, we will return that list, which is stored in the variable for later displaying the movies. Otherwise, we will send nothing. So in other words, if the movie title list is not empty, we will return those movie titles, dictionaries. If the movie title is empty, we didn't find particular genre anywhere, we will return nothing. So what is returned is going to be stored in the movies found variable. So movies found at this point will contain, that's what's returned from that function, is going to be stored in this variable, dictionaries. And then what I already checked a few times, I called the function show movies found, which displays those movies. So let's go back maybe as a reminder. Let's try to find that. And that is basically movie found. So what it does first is, if the movie is found, if there's an argument not empty, it contains something other than none, we will iterate through movies. We call another function here for each movie in the list that was provided as argument, passed to the function as argument. We display the movie and then we print that line. So that display movie function is up here, which iterates through the dictionary key and value in dictionary items and provides the appropriate output. The problem I had was how to tackle the genre, because originally, let's look for this function, add movie. When user is creating user information, so we call this create movie information function here, the genre here was provided as a list of words separated with comma, which was string. I cannot iterate through string easily, so I decided to change that in a database by using this command. So I use the same variable. First I'm taking user input, which is going to be the string, and then I convert that string into a list, and the separator is comma space. So that split actually separates those strings into individual elements and make them a list. Let's actually take a look at that interpreter. So if the, let's say Python 3, it's let's say if the user is input, enter genre. If I do that, if I specify, let's say action, comma space comedy, comma space adventure, that is going to be a string type genre. So if I display that, it shows me a string, quote, elements, and closing quote. Now, if I want to make this a list, my separator is between those elements is comma space. So what I'm going to do is genre split, and my separator is comma space. If I look at this again, it created a list of elements, which I can loop through all those elements easily. And that's why I decided to change my database, a particular key, into actual list. This genre is no longer a string, it's a list. So now that all is working, let's see how it actually works. So I have how many movies I have in my database. Now they've been converted into lists already. I have 4 movies. So if I run and go for list for option number 4, let's say find me the comedy. Do I have any comedy in the list? Yeah, there's Thor. Find me a maybe action. What about sci-fi? Sci-fi. 2 movies are classified as sci-fi.